Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our guest, RahQuel Star. I'm Melissa Minnich, author of High on Life, A Prescription for Bliss, and live event host for Humanity's Team, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to make it conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas, and we're so excited to have RahQuel join us today. Hi, RahQuel. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. I'm great. I'm so happy to be here with everyone. How are you?
I'm fabulous. And where are you connecting from today?
Well, I'm in Costa Rica. I've been living here for 5 years, and with our family, we're on the Pacific side in the mountains in an area called Tinamaste.
Oh, sounds yummy. I've been to like 60 countries and Costa Rica hasn't made it yet. So I think I'm coming to see you. So
Yeah.
I want to welcome Raquel's audience, the Scene Network, those streaming live through the Humanities Team Facebook page, Humanities Team YouTube channel, and Stream Plus members that are here in the green room with us. Hi. Thanks for being members. And some of you that are on camera, welcome everyone. And because it's a live program, we will have time for questions and comments. So those of you that are here or on YouTube watching, please try to get your questions in within the first 30 to 40 minutes of the program. Post it in the chat and we'll answer it. So RahQuel Star Achiaviatta, I hope I didn't pronounce that right, director of the Energy of Breath School and leader in global gamma activations, is here to herald in the consciousness era. She wants to open your world to gamma breathwork. And this is a specific form of breathwork that allows us to access gamma waves, which is a high frequency brain state that is the birthright of our life experience. She is the director of the Energy of Breath School and leads these global gamma activations. She offers trainings and retreats in gamma breathwork, multiple energy modalities, and as well as DJ for her signature cacao gamma dance journeys, which sounds so yummy. She's also expertly supports trauma and addiction clearings, multidimensional and intergenerational healings, and activations for manifestation and pursuing one's dharmic path. A professional prima ballerina, she guides processes in activating higher order codes of body intelligence through dance and for light body awakening. She DJs and produces music that she plays for her signature journeys at symposiums, gatherings, festivals worldwide, and at Burning Man, where we're going to connect here soon. RahQuel facilitates special gamma activations for retreats and ceremonies and is the co founder of Bliss Burn in Costa Rica. She is writing a soon to be released book about gamma breath work. Awesome. Welcome. This is so fascinating, Raquel, and I'm so excited to find out more about your multidimensional journey from prima ballerina to breathwork facilitator to DJ of vibrational medicine. So, can you kind of share the path that led you to where you're at now, the gamma breath work and the consciousness work that you now lead globally?
Sure. Well, it's been my life journey. First, I started with being born in Guatemala. My dad was in the Peace Corps. He's from the New York. And then with his work, we were moving all over Central and South America. And around age 4, I determined that I wanted to be a prima ballerina. I wanted to dance ballet, and I started my journey of training, eventually leading me to boarding school at the Royal Ballet at 12 to train and become a professional dancer, which I did. And I danced with the Royal Ballet, with Ballet Chicago, with the Minnesota Ballet, got to do all the principal roles and everything. And during that time, I was also suffering from anorexia and from some traumas in childhood from my parents' divorce and infidelity in the family, things like this that made it that I wasn't understanding how to support myself or how to process and hold space for myself in a really wholesome way. Plus, being in boarding school and such a competitive setting without really any coaches there to guide us, there was some very rigorous training and I thrived and I loved it, but also was imploding on the inside. So I made it to reaching the peak of my career, but realizing that I couldn't sustain what I was doing any longer. I was really suffering. I was weak. I was very thin. I was injury prone. So I made the tough decision to take a break. I had an injury right before opening night for a performance that I really wanted to do. And I had to be on crutches for 6 weeks. I was like, all right, well, I can't do anything but just be with this. I need to heal this situation. So I felt so blessed. I was living in Duluth, Minnesota at the time, And there's such a haven of just wonderful community there for healing. I met an awesome mentor named Dr. Rob Brand, who's a very illuminated being. He taught me Qigong and Tai Chi, trained me in all the levels of Reiki, coached me, connected me with other people who helped me with applied kinesiology and to learn whole nutrition, how to heal on so many levels. So there I embarked on my journey with pursuing and learning about holistic practices, while I also threw myself into college full time. I wanted to finish a degree in counseling psychology and then jumped into graduate school for counseling psychology while I was training in all these modalities and getting well as much as I could over those years. It's just layers, you know? And at the same time, when I could have gone back to dancing professionally, and it was my dream, I thought all I'd ever want to do would be to dance ballet till I was 65 or so. I discovered DJing. I discovered the world of house music through a boyfriend at the time, and I loved it. It was like, wow, I feel so free. I'm on the dance floor. I love the way this music feels for me. I want to learn to DJ. So while I was in college, that's a whole other story. I can make this very long, but I'll condense it. I got turntables from a cousin of mine, and I taught myself to DJ. I said, I'm going to manifest promoting that I could do this. And within a couple of weeks, I was starting to get gigs DJing at different clubs and also a radio show at the university. So that was my saving grace, really, while I was dedicated to healing, and studying. It was the music that going. As soon as I graduated from grad school, I moved to New York. I did more dancing, and I worked as a DJ in many different clubs, record stores, started to travel internationally with DJing. And then at the same time, I also learned about breath work. So in 2002, another partner at that time was studying breath work and introduced me to the studies he was taking and also to the world of Osho. Osho, an illuminated mystic from India, and his active meditations and his teachings. So that turned my DJ world upside down. I was no longer staying up all night and DJing and for the sunrise. I was waking up at sunrise to meditate. And the breath work took me to a whole other level of healing, like the emotional processing, cathartic release, encounter work, meditation, actually learning to breathe, which even as a ballerina, we weren't taught specific breath techniques. So I was thinking, all right, now with the tools that I have, I'm going to support people, whether they're athletes, artists, performers of different kinds, business people, how to breathe through their life and how to feel, how to hold space for themselves, how to be present, like how I would have liked to have coached myself as a young teen. I could then do in my 20s, my 30s. I'm now 53. But so it's been a journey. So I've been focused on the breath since 2002, plus DJing, but in more holistic settings, ecstatic dances, festivals, consciousness gatherings, and so on, plus Burning Man. And fast forward to now, having built a whole school with breath work, having created first a training called Biodynamic Breath, which is a 200-hour holotropic and rebirthing kind of process, but with a different container and other sustaining techniques for it. I then came the world of Gamma Breathwork, which we'll get into, but that has been at the foreground for me for over a decade. I've created a whole technique and protocols and trainings with it, and it's been what's brought my life to a full spectrum of harmony, balance, the bliss spaces, the flow state, manifesting, getting really well, healthy, feeling better at 53 than I did at 33. And so now here I am in Costa Rica, leading practices with breathwork, giving trainings, combining the breath with my DJ sets, getting a dance company started. So it's all, and by focusing in different areas, gamifying them and bringing them together. So that's kind of the answer to the journey question.
And wow, RahQuel, what a beautiful journey. I am also old school raver, like love getting into the DJs in the late 90s and early 2000s. And so knowing and how for so many of us, that profoundness of house, techno music, and it's actually an entrainment of the brain, right? Like what that was doing back then for us that we didn't even realize that you then take over into the years, and now we have woven these beautiful experiences, dance and music and breath work together for something that's actually healing. And so every part of your journey was like this like key that then unlocks this beautiful experience that you're now sharing with the world. So I love it so much, and I love how even when we think we're not on the path or we're not, moving towards something, like how all these little things all turn into the path that we're meant to be on, at some point later in our lives, right? And how it all weaves together. And it's our oversoul is there braiding everything, saying, I know, we're just going to take this and this and this and throw it all together. And someday it'll make sense.
Exactly. And that's how I was approaching it. It's like, I just got to trust. I just got to go one step at a time. It's like recovery, like just one step at a time. There's a purpose for this. This is why I'm learning this. I need to learn this, this, this. And yeah, now really, truly, it's coming together. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. And so your process is called Gamma Breathwork. And we know gamma brain waves, for those of you that may not know, they're the fastest type of brainwave. They oscillate anywhere between 30 and 100 hertz, right? And they're associated with things like heightened awareness, focus, cognitive processing, but also with like higher states of consciousness, accessing like metaphysical and like very altered states can happen with, and it also unifies, like, so gamma brain waves unify the brain together. So it's like unity consciousness. So the word gamma is used in so many contexts, like brain waves, frequency, galactic codes. How do you define gamma frequency in the context of your work, and what makes it so powerful for transformation?
Well, definitely in all of the above ways that you just described. And then when I'm wanting to simplify for clients or to just share what is gamma in the context of breath work, what I describe is as you were saying, that gamma is a brain frequency. So somewhere between 30 hertz per second through the brain. It's a flow of energy that illuminates our whole brain, and it could get faster and faster to even 100 hertz, sometimes even more intensive or high frequency when working with entheogenic medicines, plant medicines, and so on. So there's all these altered states that can happen. But this is a flow state frequency we can access with our own breath. There's a specific type of breathing called gamma breath work that has us get into the flow state, and starting in the 30 hertz, 40 hertz, even just within a minute, doing one breath sequence, because that's how long it takes to do some of the gamma breaths, and then exponentially higher depending of where we're each at. The
Mhm.
breath is adaptogenic in nature. We generate the amount of gamma that we can in our brain, and then this amplifies to our whole body, creating more generation of endorphins. We stimulate and regulate our neurotransmitters like serotonin, GABA, oxytocin, dopamine. We stimulate a micro release of dimethyltryptamine. Naturally, we're activating our pineal gland. And this DMT release informs us with higher access to perspectives that support us to create a reality shift, and therefore be able to heal situations. In just this one session, for instance, they were looking at, well, I could get into more about what is gamma, but I could pause there. But just to say that that's how I would first describe what
Yeah.
gamma is in the context of the breath.
And it's really powerful. Like when I was getting my master's in the science of consciousness and human potential, we were looking at like how different types of meditations and breath work with like different brain waves, right? Like you have one that'll take you into an alpha, one that'll take you into a theta, one that'll take in this. But the gamma was the one for me that I found to be the most intriguing, fascinating, and the one where you saw the most amount of healings in the body, right? The most amount of mystical experiences. And I think it's like the secret sauce. So I think you've created gamma breath work. You're connecting into the secret sauce, because yeah, alpha and theta are really great for ways, and wonderful for meditation and mindfulness and things. But gamma is like the one that you want to work with, like you were saying, pineal gland activation, the DMT release, right? These things that when you're working with those experiences, you can heal on many levels, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Like you get to have this like really cool access, and it happens through this. So I love this. It's getting exciting. So for those that are maybe new to breath work in general, and then you have even gamma breath work, what happens during a session? What does it look or feel like on like a practical somatic level?
All right. So first I'll say there's many kinds of breath work. I'm thrilled that now we're at the advent of where breath work's getting known around the world as a key to consciousness, as a very powerful healing tool. Many people may have heard of Wim Hof
Yes.
breathing or holotropic breathing or yogic breathing, pranayama, all these kinds of breath, meditative breathing to relax, and all kinds of breathing. And they're different breath sessions have different contexts and different ways of being experienced. So I'll give some comparisons. Say we want to do a rebirthing session or a holotropic breath. It's mostly breathing through the mouth. It's like all the way in, all the way out in certain rhythms that will create really tapping into the body, allowing the body to express what's subconsciously, unconsciously there, processing traumas, releasing, sometimes very cathartically. And it's not necessarily about tuning in on a cognitive level as to what's going on. And it can be quite intense to where that kind of breath work is best supported in person with a small group and several people supporting per se or one-on-one. Gamma breath work, what I love about it is that it's very gentle and titrated in the sense that a person can receive a session virtually one-on-one, or it can even be a big group session with thousands of people online. It could be a gathering at a big symposium, thousands of people breathing all at once. It could be a small group. So the container lends itself to being way more far reaching. And what I also love that's quite unique about this session is that it's about staying cognitively present. You could do this session sitting up. You can do this session and then still go to work later in the day or spend time with your loved ones, whatever you're going to do. Yes, there's integration time and there'll be some processing after and reflection that happens. But during the session, what happens is we'll start with setting an intention. What are we going to look at today? Whether it's from processing a deep trauma or something that happened at work or something with a family member, to what do we want to create in our life? What's our purpose? What's our passion? I want to get clear on who I am, what I'm here to do, things like this. It could be about, so it lends itself to anything. It could be about healing from a surgery or chronic illness. It could be about building a new business. It could be about this downloading all the steps for writing a book. So it could be really about anything. And during the session, once we set that intention, we do a short breath sequence that sets it in motion. It starts to create getting into the flow state and creating the pathways by which we're going to access the information needed to get to the result we're seeking. And then during the session, there's actually dialogue as well when it's a one-on-one and for a small group. Otherwise, it's just everybody puts their intention into the field and it's felt as the session is guided. It also works. So just to give an example, all right, because I'm writing a book, right? So I'm writing my book about Gamma Breathwork. My intention is to convey the information in the way that supports the most people. It's the most clear and supported kind of guidebook. All right, so that's my intentions. Then I do an activating breath. Then the person, or I'm guiding myself, but somebody guiding would check in. What are you feeling now? What is coming to you? What kind of images, memories, thoughts, sensations? And then the person shares what that is, whether it's something like, oh, I see the color blue, or oh, I feel really warm, or oh, I'm seeing my grandmother typewriting her book, or whatever it might be. Then we do a breath related to what's being seen. Then each sequence, when I say doing a breath, is like a minute or a minute and a half. So it's not like continuous breathing for an hour and a half straight. It's we do a breath sequence, we pause, integrate, allow the energies in the brain and our consciousness and our whole energetic field to upgrade. Then we check in again. What are you sensing? What are you seeing? How's this looking to you now? What's coming up for you? And then we do another breath related to that. And we go layers by layers like that through the whole session, usually from an hour and a half, going breath by breath, exploring the whole field of the situation till we get to a sweet spot. So say it's me in the book, by the end of the session, I'll have seen the order of the chapters, what's the theme that's going through it, what each the structure is going to look like, to give an example. Or say it's a really deep issue about somebody not remembering something in their childhood that was very challenging that happened for them. It could start with, I don't remember what it is, but I feel uncomfortable. Okay, so then the breaths to support processing that. Then bit by bit, things start to click in a supportive way that people don't feel overwhelmed at all, because the breath keeps creating a gamma frequency. So the gamma converts the charges of stress and challenge into a flow state, frees up the stress that's there. So that's how we go with like trauma types of healing sessions, just in brief, because I'm sure we'll get into that more. But so again, it just goes stages by stages, breaths by breaths, till we get to a resolution point. And that's how a gamma breath session looks, whether it's in person, online, or with a group.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and key up the first video that we're going to watch. That's the introduction to Gamma Breathwork from RahQuel's program on Humanity's Team streaming platform.
So gamma is a higher frequency brain state of 40 hertz and exponentially higher. When we're in gamma, we're stimulating and regulating all our brain waves. We are creating this frequency flow throughout our brain to light up more functioning areas. And what this creates is that we can process higher order information better. We can be in alignment with our purpose and passion. We can take positive action. We're thriving instead of surviving. We're in the flow state. It's a state of coherence, present moment awareness, embodiment, and generosity, and awareness of ourselves, a space of being healthier and well, and learning how to create boundaries according to our body intelligence. So there's a lot that we can create when we're in gamma. That's just a little bit to tell you some of the benefits. And what's really amazing is that now there's a technique that's really easy to do at home that I'm going to be sharing with you. So a little bit of history about this is that, well, first of all, gamma is becoming more and more known on the planet as the state to be in, to thrive in our brains, and that it's accessible. Unfortunately, most people on the planet up to date have lived a life where there's no gamma, perhaps just stress, the daily life, lifestyle, different traumas, triggers, things that create an overlog in time, and not knowing that there's a way to feel free, liberated, energized, clear at cause of our lives. So now that gamma is becoming known, there's a few different teachers in the world who talk about the science of the brain and how gamma is this high plasticity state. We can heal our physical body, we can heal our emotions, we can transform our lives. Yes, this is true. Yet most of the ways people have gotten into gamma thus far are with audios like binaural beats, or with ancient kundalini practices that now, for example, Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches in a modern way and a scientifically proven way. And now we have another amazing technique by a man named Corey Herder called Gamma Breath. I know him personally. I studied with him. He created these breath sequences for the healing of the brain and training the brain to upgrade so that we could create a higher consciousness type of reality. I then asked for permission to work with the breath to develop sessions and workshops and eventually trainings to become facilitators in Gamma Breathwork, which is what my trademark program is. The Gamma Breathwork program incorporates some of the breath sequences that Corey created. They're based on sacred geometry. They're designed to stimulate and upregulate all the brain waves and endorphins through the body, and stimulate a micro release of DMT, activating our pineal gland. And when we have that neurotransmitter of DMT, we are definitely in the flow state, and we are accessing higher order information, which we're able to download and embody.
Okay, yummy. What a wonderful clip that we had there. So one of the things that I want to dive into that you talk about, so I have a mystery school, and one of the things that I teach in the mystery school is sacred geometry and how we work with that. We embody it, we walk it, we do it. So how does you talked about the sacred geometry, how does your breath work and sacred geometry work together? Because this for me is like what I love.
Yes. So as I was describing in the video, Corey Herder designed these 5 breath sequences. He downloaded them actually from out-of-body experiences, and he created the sequences to be in different lengths. So for example, certain breaths are 1 second in, 1 second out. Some are 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. Some are 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and creating a mathematical formula that stimulates the DMT release, the pineal gland, and is creating this access to the sacred geometry that the universe or consciousness is made of. So then we're able to see, like those who are super receptive, and over time we all generate more of the gamma quotient, can see all the fractals, the sacred geometry structures that are encoding the upgrades of our consciousness. We see like all these beautiful designs, as you may see from visionary artists around the world, like for example, Alex Gray and many others, we start to see and feel the frequency of those codes through our bodies. So the breath sequences, all of them were encoded with specific blends that stimulate this sacred geometry structure and with specific instructions. So say a breath to activate and put something in motion, a breath to amplify, a breath to process and reorganize anything that's kind of chaotic into a harmonized sacred geometry kind of structure. Integrate, for example, and others.
Yeah, beautiful. I love how combined, because these all do work together. And we know the key, like when we have the sacred geometry is literally in our energetic field, and we teach people how to place it into the field. And so you're using breath to place these energetics into the field and open up to them. It's so beautiful. So your Gamma Breathwork works with you work teens, trauma recovery, addiction healing, right? Even manifestation. So how does this breathwork support these like seemingly just diverse outcomes? Is there a unifying thread?
Yes, basically the aspect of getting into the flow state and stimulating the gamma state in the brain is what then has this be the umbrella formula to support any of these life themes. So in the sense of something like an addictive pattern or trauma, or when they're all together, we go in with the breaths to the address of where that imprint is, where what we call in gamma the charge, the low energy charge has been holding a lot of our life force that keeps us from moving forward and keeps us in these loops or fear-based ways or thoughts or so on. So we were able to access that memory, open it up. This is just a quick description about this. Breathe into that space, open up the charge and neutralize it with the breath, with the sacred geometry codes to free up that energy and turn it into golden fuel of gamma. Now, all of a sudden, we're thriving. We have more of our life force back to ourselves. And it's similar in the sense of working with something like regulating sleep or wanting to manifest and activate goals and skills and action steps by processing whatever thoughts are already present, whether they quote positive or negative, with the gamma breaths to then access gamifying them and using that fuel to get more upgraded states of being, perspectives, action steps, grounded realizations that then change our whole hologram of our life. So then when it's about looking at something like manifesting, we'll tune into situations where we have been able to achieve goals, where we have been able to proclaim and then create something and follow through. We harvest that fuel with gamma. We breathe into those memories, which are what we call higher energy charges, open that energy up, convert it with a specific gamma breath into gamma. And now then we can use that gamma fuel for what we're manifesting. All of a sudden we will see more clear information or images about what it is we want to create. We breathe to integrate that into ourselves, into our consciousness, creating new neural pathways for that to unfold. And when we're in gamma, we are harmonizing with our higher self. We are in alignment. So whatever we're seeing is something that we can truly step into. It's the next step. And then from there, the gamma reward is then even the next opening or the next paradigm shift. And all of this works for any topic. So there are tools that I teach my students, my clients and community, where just with one simple breath or other gamma shortcuts through the day, you could gather fuel from around you that's nourishing, or you could have a realization and gamify it, or there's something challenging that you're feeling and tuning into, you can gamify it. So it's the same with the sessions. There's shortcuts how to do this throughout your whole day. Your whole day could be a gamma journey. But yeah, it really does work for example of how that would work.
I love that you said gamify it, right? It's like we're in such a society right now where we gamify things, and you're like gamify it. It's so beautiful. Awesome. So let's cue up our second clip for today, breath work for manifestation.
Start to tune into your intention for today. What is it that you desire to manifest? So feel into your heart, into your consciousness. Trust whatever it is that's coming, big or small. If you're desiring it, trust what it's about. Go ahead and follow through with this practice and see what unfolds in your life. So just tuning in with your eyes closed, putting it out in your consciousness and into this quantum field in the universe, what you want to manifest. Beautiful. So now we're going to do a more complex gamma breath to activate our powerful intention. So for this one, we can place our hands in a diamond mudra. And now there's going to be a sequence that's a little more in depth. And by the way, all these breaths are based on sacred geometry, so very cool. When I say medium, that's 3 seconds inhale, 3 seconds exhale. Slow is going to be 5 seconds in, 5 out. Fast, 1 second in, 1 second out. All right, so as we breathe, just know that we're already setting in motion our intention. Just feel your breath, feel your body. Here we go. In mouth, medium. In a little more. A bit more. And hold. And now out mouth, medium. In mouth, out nose, slow. In nose, out nose, medium. In nose, out mouth, fast. In mouth, out mouth, medium.
So we just got a little taste there, but don't worry, we're going to actually be going through, before we end today, Raquel is going to be taking us through our own practice to do some gamma breath work with that. And so what specifically, so the key was we set the intention, right? We were setting the intention for what the manifestation was. And then we were doing a sequence of breaths into the intention to activate that intention and send it like out into the field and gamify it. Is that correct?
Yes, 100%. That is exactly how it works. As we're doing that breath, which is designed to amplify the intention, because first, as we close our eyes, we're tuning into the frequency of it. What does it feel like? Say it's something like, I'm going to go have the best vacation with my friends, or something. So you feel the excitement of that, the energy of that, breathe into that. And then by the time you've completed the breath, that's the download that's happening. The encoding, the neural pathways are developing for exactly that to happen. And soon enough, you'll find yourself truly on that awesome vacation feeling that way.
Mhm. Yeah. Beautiful. So one of the things that this work has led you to is working with like confidence and self-awareness and with teens. And you know, I can remember all of us, I think, as the teenage years are not easy years. You're awkward and weird. Things are, shifting. A lot of people, family challenges and things like that. And we're not taught how to regulate our systems or our nervous systems or how to breathe or any of these things. So what drew you into working with, teens, and then how are you getting these programs out? And is this something that you're trying to get into schools or things like that? And is there any like really great stories you can share about your work with teens in this work? Because I think this is super important.
Sure. So when I was in college, one of my internships was at a high school, doing counseling. And that was before I knew about breath work. And I did the best I could with coaching, with counseling, with listening and having dialogues. But I wanted to be of more support. And then when I discovered breath work and I started going back through processing about my own teenage years and the high pressure environment I was in without like any guide for support, I just felt a very strong desire for being able to help others. So then when I was in New York, I worked at a clinic where I was able to support teens and
Mhm.
also teens with special needs. And I was able to incorporate the breath work and also Reiki, and with very positive results. Like they felt heard, they felt they had a safe space, somebody to talk to and to experience something a little different with and start to gain a lot of confidence with. And then I got more focused into my breath trainings and so on, which were mostly with adults. But then when the pandemic started, with a few colleagues, we started an online consciousness school for kids and teens. And in that program, I guided Gamma Breath and confidence boosting with Gamma Breath, like tuning into, well, what am I feeling troubled about? What's really bothering me right now? Like what's happening with my peers, what's happening at home, and then doing breath sequences in a safe container in which to just do the breath and help release some of the charge. Because at first teens might not think that, oh, that a breath's gonna help. But just by trusting to do the breath sequence, all of a sudden on the other side of the breath sequence, a minute or two on the other side of it, there's already this different state of being. They'll always come out of it saying, okay, I feel so much better. I figured out a way now that I'm going to talk to my best friend about what happened, or I see how I can be more centered at home when this is happening at the dinner table, or I see how I can talk to my teacher now, or how I can get into Gamma State before I study for a test that I'm scared about. Or anyway, they start to gain more confidence around situations like all the pressures of social media. And some of them do have way more home situations, and then there'd be opportunities to support one-on-one or with the family. But I haven't focused 100% on teens. I've had many focuses, but I did want to offer for humanity, the humanity platform, that those couple of practices, because I knew they would be helpful. What I can say is that now my intention has been a lot with raising my daughter. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I'm single parenting. Her father passed away a decade ago, actually, almost. And I just desired to create the most wholesome environment for her. And I gamified, and that is, I have a glossary in my book. That's one of the words I've the reality of moving here. And she really is, I'm so grateful for this. It wasn't so like this for me growing up, but she really is a confident young lady, so centered, so tuned into who she is, so present and aware. She does her own self-guided learning. She's not interested in technology. She doesn't even want to use her phone. Like sometimes she'll do some research online to learn a subject she wants to learn, but it's not about the media. It's not, I get there's benefits in media, but she's not pulled by that. She's not pulled by peer pressure to be any certain way. She knows who she is, and she seeks a like vibe friends, just a couple of friends. It's sufficient to her that resonate versus trying to fit in or trying to do what everybody else is doing. She's super interested in like deep, present relating and conversation and reading. She has a big library. It's all Gamma learning. She knows the breaths. We do energy work. So I'm so grateful that I can impart this to my daughter. We have a really positive relationship, a lot of trust, awesome conversations, a lot of fun. We're able to talk through things and co-create things together. And so I'm just glad that whatever things I needed to learn along the way, or things I worked out with my parents and family, that I'm able to hold as nurturing and safe a space as possible for my daughter. I get we're really blessed because we live in such a beautiful nature environment, and it's not the case in all the cities. But I do have families reach out to me directly where I work with their kids and their teens. Right now, I don't have a big focus or broad program with teens, but it could be, now that we're talking about it, that I'll start another one. And I'm glad these ones are on the Humanity platform as well.
So powerful, and just what a testament to how your own daughter, at the age of 14 is experiencing the world because of the practices that she's grown up with and been taught, and how we could actually live in the world if we were able to teach these things. Because I think that's the key. Like, I'm not always on media. I'm not, the presence that comes when we're in our bodies and can feel that and feel safe and confident and aware, compared to the comparison that happens in the world of online media and social media and the challenges that go with that. So beautiful. And I, really am a champion for hoping to see that we can really make more shifts in our younger children, especially because they're coming in so much more awake and aware, the crystal children, they're so much more sensitive, and we need to pay the way for them to be able to honor who they are instead of conforming into the society that we have had in the past, that we were given, that we've got to make those changes so that they have a place to feel safe.
100%.
Awesome. Let's key up clip number 4 around Gamma Breathwork for teens.
it's a tendency, I would say, for just about everyone to be in our heads. There's a lot of thoughts, things to be doing, things to be looking at, conversations to be had. And for example, how often do you think about your body? Are you noticing things happening? So a great way to get a real sense of ourselves is to first do this grounding exercise with all the senses and scanning our body, and then getting aware of our breath. And now next we can start to notice, well, what state are we in? How are we feeling? Do we feel energized and clear? Do we feel a little muddled in any way or distracted? Is something bothering us? Are there emotions present that we feel somewhere in our body, like in our heart or in our abdomen? So we can begin to notice. And here's something I'd like to impart is that it can be hard to feel things, especially if there's something really difficult going on in our life or in our upbringing. Yet, I've noticed over time, and with this work I've been doing for decades, and with myself and others, that if we take the time to ground like we just did and to breathe, we can be with ourselves. We can hold a space that's safe to feel. Even if it's uncomfortable feelings, we have a baseline of being with ourselves. It's ourselves we want to trust. It's ourselves we want to rely on wherever we are. So I would suggest that whenever you're at school or with a group of your friends, with peers, with family, at some kind of other activity that you are involved in, do this practice and then see if it becomes easier to engage in the situation you're in, to interact with the people around you.
Wow, beautiful. I love that. And so one of the other benefits that you talk about with the gamma breath work that we dive into is around sleep, right? Enhancing your sleep, right? Like, and I'm sure that most people out there are like, oh, now that's interesting. There's a lot of sleep disturbance in our world. I mean, for myself, I sleep like a dream, but I know that that's not always the case. And so is this breath work something that you can like do before you go to sleep at night to help yourself to sleep?
Yes. So in certain contexts, because I've had friends say, "Oh, I did a gamma breath, and then I was so awake afterwards," or "I had a gamma breath, and then I had such vivid dreams." So the idea is to set intentions, because the breaths are adaptogenic. It's what intention and focus we put to them. So in the journey that I created for humanity is about specifically creating a deep, regulated type of sleep. So here's some simple things one can do before going to bed with gamma. One is, and here's what I do. So I'll lay down. I'll just take a few minutes to just do couple of deep in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then just notice my body, scan my body, see if I can just let myself sink into the bed and just notice myself in my body more than all the energy of the day, right? Like spinning and thinking or being in traffic or the computer and all these things, right? So that's one. Then it's about scanning the day, just tuning into the highlights of the day, all the positives, all the things that could have gone differently, just anything that comes to mind, because it's holding a lot of charge, it's holding a lot of energy. And then we do a basic gamma breath to process and regulate and neutralize all that charge, just to start to calm the mind. It's getting into a gentle gammified flow state, but not a super energetic one, just regulating and calming. And then if you want to take it further, you could do what I call a delta gamma breath. So it's a breath designed to stimulate delta waves with gamma. So gammifying the delta waves to then get even deeper, more regulating sleep. And then you can even set intention like we do here in our home. First, even before laying down, we may sage around the house. We may light an incense. We just say like, bless our home, create a pure container, protect our auric field, and clear our psychic energy, create a cocoon of light around our body. And if you want to stay embodied and grounded during sleep, ask for that. And then do the breath. I also add to that some Reiki. If a person isn't, say, attuned to some kind of energy work, doesn't matter. We're all healing beings, since we could place our hands somewhere in our body, like our heart, our abdomen, while doing that gamma breath, and then the delta gamma breath, and then you'll just drift into a nice, peaceful sleep.
Mm.
You can set intention like, oh, I want my body to feel relaxed. I want my pillow to feel comfortable, or I want to have some specific dreams about something, or even I would like an answer to something that I've been seeking information about, and to be able to access that when I wake up. And so those are all added things you could do. But another thing that I guide, say, in the humanity video I created, is to tune into times in your life where you slept restfully. What factors about it do you remember in your body, so you can amplify those with the breath, and that will also help. And what are the benefits of sleeping well, and visualizing waking up rested. And then there's other things like getting to bed earlier, like, turning down the Wi-Fi sooner, things like that. But the gamma definitely helps calm all systems of the body and the brain to sleep better.
Awesome. So the gamma breath work are these very systematic and patterns, short, medium, long breaths that create this sacred geometry. And it's very different than like a holotrophic breath, or like laying down and you go through these like deep journeys and things. But you are a DJ, right? For cacao gamma dance journeys. And so how are you combining this kind of gamma breath work with your sound and your music and your movement? Because that sounds more like a deeper journey, more, into this work than just these beautiful processes that we are using for specific things.
Yes. So I found that doing these breaths and then combining them with movement really supports integrating physically the upgrades in consciousness, really activates our physical intelligence, our sense of boundaries, our sense of trusting ourselves and our action steps. Like, for instance, like some of the results I'll describe first. Something like, oh, I'm going to drive this way instead of that way to the grocery store. And why? Because you run into a special friend who wants to do an awesome collaboration with you, or you saved yourself from an issue on the traffic, or etc. Like, it just gets you to embody action steps. And when breathing and moving, especially for people who love to dance like me, I'm activating all these creative channels. All of a sudden, I'm moving in different ways, and the breath is opening that up. And this is for everyone, opening up expression and rejuvenation and all the energy meridians. It's kind of like Qigong and Tai Chi, yet super exponentially gamified, because we're activating our pineal gland and the DMT release and all the movements. So in the journeys that I created, for example, the ones with cacao, because especially in Costa Rica, it's such a beautiful ritual. There's even and there's cacao pods growing. And so we make this strong, like a cocoa of the cacao. It's kind of bitter. We hold it with intention. We tune into our hearts, and then we do about 15-20 minutes of gamma breath sequences, setting intention. What do we want to activate in this dance journey? What would we like the cacao to bless us with? And it usually has to do with heart situations. So self-love, love with others, our mission, being of service and purpose, getting well, clearing our mind, rejuvenating, whatever it might be. Community intentions, we do that a lot here. And so support for the planet, support for people coming to Costa Rica, living in a holistic way, things like this. So we do all these breaths, then we drink our cacao, then I'll start DJing to take people on a journey. So it's a mix of different styles of music. It could start with something shamanic and organic, or tribal or ethnic and melodic and ethereal, different things like this, or just some nice vocals and harmonies. And then starts to grow into different types of beats, usually electronic, picking up the pace. It could be Afro-Caribbean, it could be techno-y, it could be trancey, it could be a mix. I love blending a lot of different types of music. And usually the dance journey itself is about an hour and a half of music, winding down. Towards the end, there might be a couple ups and downs through the journey. I love to help guide people with the music to explore different spaces. So by breathing and then dancing, and I'll also guide on the microphone different breath sequences during. So while dancing, you could breathe. The idea is to release and surrender and allow the body to express and channel whatever it needs to move, so people could process all kinds of things during, and then come out to the other end with a resolution and clarity on things, or healing around a certain relationship or self, whatever it might be, something from the past. And then as we complete, everybody lays down, and I'll guide everyone through sound healing, maybe like some singing bowls, some shakers, some bells. And then maybe somebody will do some kind of beautiful singing or toning, something like this. We then come back to a space of silence and a sharing circle. If people want to share about their experience, they can. And then we close with a couple more breaths to integrate and really ground the experience. So it's about a 2.5 hour journey. And
Mhm.
I've guided that at many, many, many different places, and it's definitely very powerful. It's an upgrade that happens when dancing and breathing in a group and with the music, including house music, which I love. It's
Mhm.
a consciousness upgrade that's exponential because we're all setting this intention together. We're all creating the gamma state together. And that leads to my mission around the world, which I've had the opportunity to lead in many countries, gamma, is to create that global gamma consciousness, because then we can transform systems on the planet with this higher frequency and upgrade
Yeah.
life on the planet.
So beautiful. I love the journeys. And so, for those of you that are watching live, if you have any questions, please get them into us now. We've only got 10 minutes left. We've had such a wonderful conversation. It's gone by so quickly. So, while we're waiting for questions, I would love to turn it over to you, Raquel, to take us through a sequence.
Sounds good. So yeah, we'll just take about 3 minutes for this. Let's all close our eyes. And before we go into the basic gamma breath sequence, let's each take a moment to feel our bodies. Just to say hello, body. I feel my feet, my legs, my pelvis and torso, heart, arms, neck, my whole head and skull, for instance. Because here we are all together on a network, but maybe we aren't all like thinking of our bodies. So now we are. And then let's notice our breath because it's with us all the time. And now we get to consciously say hello to our breath. Just by nature of that, we might take a deeper breath, whether it's mouth or nose. Our breath can support us and be our protector at all times. We can breathe into anything that we're feeling. We can hold a safe and nourishing space for ourselves wherever we are with our breath. We can create that container. And now we're going to do a basic gamma breath, and we can stay with eyes closed for this to even more be inwardly present. So let's place our palms together. There are mudras, which are special hand positions. Mudra is a Sanskrit word for like an energetic hand position. This one, the prayer mudra, creates a cohesiveness of left and right brain hemispheres, left and right sides of the body becoming very whole and integrated. And now we're going to breathe. The way we breathe for gamma is just big spacious breaths throughout the whole body, because it's not only our lungs that are breathing, we're creating an alchemy throughout our whole body and energy field. And each inhale is going to be 3 seconds, each exhale 3 seconds. Big full breaths with our jaw open and relaxed, and I'll just say each part as we go. So in mouth, out mouth. In mouth, out nose. In nose, out nose. In nose, out mouth. Again, in mouth, out mouth. In mouth, out nose. In nose, out nose. In nose, out mouth. And one more set, very spacious, very full. In mouth, out mouth. In mouth, out nose. In nose, out nose. In nose, out mouth. And one more awesome in mouth, out mouth. Wonderful. Let's take a few moments here in silence, feeling the frequency of gamma as we breathe easy. And we can stay here in this space for a long time and still integrate it as we easily, gently begin to open our eyes. We can, if we were doing the prayer mudra, you could relax your hands and just taking your surroundings from an inwardly present state, just receiving the nourishment from surroundings and coming back to our group here.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. That was really, really lovely. And while everyone's integrating, I would love for you to share a little bit about your upcoming book. Like, do you have a release date? Is it in the process? Like, tell us a little bit more.
Yes. So I'll complete writing it by the end of this year and have submissions with a few publishers. My inspiration from it came from in the mid 80s, having read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. That was my first metaphysical book when I was a teenager, and it really impacted me.
Wow.
And this book with Gamma has the format of being a guidebook about self-healing. There's chapters for, it's kind of like a glossary or encyclopedia of different ways you can work with Gamma. So say it's how to release stress at work, how to have a more harmonious conversation with a family member, how to regulate your body chemistry, how to tune into what your body needs to eat, or whatever. Like there's so many topics. There's many, many chapters, and it's almost like a training in Gamma Breathwork, learning all the breaths, all the other Gamma energy techniques and shortcuts so that you can make your life a Gamma experience, so that you can manifest the life of your dreams, so that you can complete the past, free up that energy, and
Mm.
generate a really fruitful, passionate, purposeful life. So this whole book is a step-by-step guidebook for that with Gamma techniques.
Oh, wow. Well, good luck. My book just came out in April, and I know the process and how that works. And Hay House and Louise Hayes, I think are a big guiding light for all of us. And I'm super grateful to them for my book. And so but I know that the process that comes with writing a book. So I can't wait to hear more about this journey for you and who you end up working with as a publisher. My dream was to get something published by Hay House, and that finally came true. And so it's like one of those pieces of like, but it's beautiful that when you get to work and play with these things together, and like where does the dream come from? And it sounds like what you're putting into this book is like well needed by the world. So it's time for you to get it out. All right, beautiful. So thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your Gamma breathwork with everyone. And for those of you that are watching, you can watch the Gamma breathwork activation series, right, on our streaming platform. So join Stream Plus now and gain immediate access to this incredible program. Along with other incredible spiritual teachers and programs, we're proud to say that Humanity Stream Plus is the largest global streaming platform of conscious raising masterclasses and transformational education. We are a nonprofit and also give back with our one-for-one program, sharing our content with those who cannot afford the membership. I want to thank Steve Farrell, Dee Meyer, and the production team, Jim Gray, Garth Catterall, Nanette Kennedy Motheler, everybody that we have, the rest of the humanities team, and especially thank you, Raquel, today for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. I'm thrilled to be a part of this platform, and it was wonderful to share with all of you today and to be continued.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.